AJ Jensen joining us today. AJ Jensen joining us today. I think that's the one. That's the one. Hey AJ, how are you?
All right, I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. Let's do this.
Great, yeah, perfect. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
So how long have you been doing caricatures? Presumably a while, right?
Ooh.
It's
It
been a
doesn't feel
while.
that long, but I think I started officially. So what I did first, I would play around with caricature like at home.
Okay.
And then I did my first live experience probably 2 years into doing that. So I think maybe 2014 is when I officially started doing that.
Oh
So
man, wow.
what is that? 14? No, 12. I can't math. We can't
Yeah,
math.
there's numbers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm lost already.
We
So
could do a calculator. That's what we
oh
rely on
yeah,
now.
if you got one.
I got one. It's 2026, right? No, I'm kidding.
Almost.
11 years. Everybody's watching this and being like, it's 11, you morons. 11 years. To answer your
11 years.
question.
Man. Well, how much has your style changed over the 11 years, do you think?
That's
Did you
actually a
start
really
off
good question.
doing like really abstract stuff? Because I know from what I've seen of your work, like you're like really one of the ones
Yeah,
pushing the
I appreciate that.
exaggeration. Yeah, and I love it.
Um, yeah, good question because when I first started out, no. I mean, compared to what caricature was around then, it was still kind of extreme. Yeah, but for what caricature was then when I started out, it was pretty still extreme, um, but still tame to what I do now, if that makes sense. And it kind of evolved after I started like looking at other caricature artists and admiring their work. And I think that takes some time to kind of understand. When you first get into caricature, you like more of the, portraiture looking caricatures and a little exaggerated, which is fine. But the more you get into it, the more you realize how hard it is to, kind of abstract features or play around with shapes. And that's impressive in its own. And you kind of want to imitate that. And then when you start trying to practice doing that, you realize how hard it actually is to keep that likeness of that subject.
Yeah, man. I feel like you do a really good job of it, even though like you're really pushing the art form. And you bring up something kind of interesting. You, has caricature evolved, do you think, over the last several years to become more exaggerated than it's ever been?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if it's going to be more exaggerated forever.
Right.
I do think there's been a lot of artists that kind of showcase what caricature could be. And that's kind of gotten more popular. I mean, you look at like TikTok with Aaron Philby and Say May and then Kiko, like them really pushing caricature, and a lot of people follow that. So I do think the expectation of what caricature is a little bit more known.
Mm.
But it's not to where we want it. I mean, I would like it to be where people sit down and they're getting a caricature by that artist, not just a caricature. Because these are things that are completely different from one another. I mean, you could get a caricature from Kiko to Damian Dunn, they're gonna still look like you, but they're gonna be completely different caricatures. I mean, caricature artists like collecting these things too. I mean, I remember when I first started, I have a list of everybody that I wanted to do a caricature of me, and I'm checking that list off slowly but surely over the
That's
11
awesome.
years. See how I math the 11 years of doing this. But yeah, good question. I do think it's more just known of what we're doing a little bit better, but I still think there's room to stretch exaggeration and likeness a little bit more with caricature that can keep on evolving for sure.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to see how it continues to develop then. ToonHeadz, how long has this been happening? It looks like a very well established company doing really amazing caricatures.
I appreciate that. I like how we can give a false sense of illusion. I'm just kidding. But me and Bobby, we started the company right when I started getting into live caricature. I kind of feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And when I met him, it was in Helen, Georgia. He was drawing caricatures, and I was with my soon to be wife. We weren't married then, but we got married like way after. We were together. We were just on our date. And then I just hung around the caricature booth pretty much the whole day. I kind of got in trouble because it was a date and I was just around another man the whole time. Um, but me and him, hit it off, and he invited me to come work for him. And then I was super nervous, super scared. But I pushed through it. And then we just started signing up for festivals for ourselves. We found out about gigs. We started doing gigs together. And then one thing that was just kind of, it wasn't defeating, but it was just something that I hoped for. I wish there was more of a community of caricature artists because I missed out on the theme park,
Yeah.
the theme park life, or even the fair life a little bit. And every time I went to ISCA, I would get a smidge of that and realize, how awesome the community is and how that can boost you up creatively. So I kind of wanted that for ourselves, but it didn't exist over here. I'm not knocking on anybody that was doing caricatures in Georgia at the time, but they were more on the entertainment side, more of the quick, let's do gig caricatures. So creativity wasn't a priority, let's say, for them. So I was just like, it would be awesome if we started our own thing. And then that's what we pushed for. It took a long time, lots of trial and error to figure this out and make sure that, it was still balanced. And we're still trying to figure that out where, we still have to make the business survive, but we still want to support caricature artists and have them have their dream job per se. Um, and that takes a lot of, trial and error to happen. So I would say we officially started that together 11 years ago, and then I think 2018 is when we officially started bringing artists on the crew and getting them at festivals and their gigs and organizing that. But right now we have, I think, 29 caricature artists on our team.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
then
great.
we just sent, we're splitting up both things. Bobby's handling the festival side, retail side, and I handle the gig side. Like organizing books and all of that, bookings and all of that fun, really fun stuff that I thoroughly enjoy doing with all my heart.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you got into this, right? It's to do uh
One
paperwork and
thing that suffers is, when you run a business, you do have to have your creativity put on a back burner a little bit, especially with me managing the gig side. It is hard to find time for my creativity because I'm trying to concentrate on other artists' opportunities. And that suffers a little bit, but it's not suffering to where I'm not seeing improvement. I still try to push myself as much as I can, but it's the consistency that you really got to find time for, where you have to get a sketchbook and do that, at least once a week if you can. Or when you go out and do a gig, you're not just stamping the drawings, you're, spending time on somebody that will appreciate it. So it's a mixed bag for me. I mean, it's that I think that's one of the most frustrating parts is that sacrifice.
Mm. And right now, do you cover like all of Georgia and then some? Are you what kind of a uh like area are you covering right now with ToonHeadz?
So yeah, good question. Most of Atlanta is what we cover. So the
Okay.
thing about Georgia is most of all of the population is in North Georgia. South Georgia is kind of, people have three teeth and do stuff with their cousins. So we still go down there for some occasional bookings, but most of Georgia, yeah, we work. But we're expanding out just a little bit. I'm trying to just put my toes in the water to see how it is. Um, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of organizing, and like I commend Mike Hassan. He's one guy that I commend. Robert Bauer and also Tad. Like them doing that nationwide is just mind boggling to me. So I
Yeah.
mean, I would like to get there. I'm just making sure that's what I actually want. So I'm just kind of playing around in the water. We've booked some things in Vegas, California, and so far so good. But still seeing if that's something that I want to head towards, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah. Well, I imagine if it expands to that level, that's going to be a lot more paperwork and a lot more time involvement. That's going to take you away, perhaps, from actually doing the art, unless you
Yeah,
hire
it
somebody else
could.
to do that.
Yeah, potentially it could, but I just love caricature so much, and I love caricature artists. And I feel honored just to give somebody an opportunity with it. I do feel I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I do feel like I'm pretty good at talking to people, and kind of selling what caricature actually is. And I know a lot of artists are, a little shy on the shy side, and talking about yourself, it's kind of there's this weird like rule for artists to not talk so good about themselves and hype them up. And I rather be that voice for them. It feels better when somebody else recognizes that and tries to push for opportunities for them. And when I get to do that for somebody, that means a lot to me.
Wow, that's awesome. I'd like to share some of your work, actually,
Okay.
um, if you don't mind. Hop
Yeah.
on here. We can maybe talk about it. I think I've got your Instagram pulled up here. Oh yeah, here we go. Can you see this?
No. Hold
Uh-oh.
on. Let me. It's double click to enter. Okay, I had to double click it.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah, I was looking
Instagram.
at
That
some of
is
this.
the Instagram.
Yeah, I was looking
The
at some of these.
gram.
So, I mean, this is just like over the top and awesome. Looking at these, um, this style is just, it's like cartoony abstract. I don't know how to describe it, I suppose.
I wish I could take all the credit for that style. It would be really nice, but there's a lot of things that I'm pulling from, other caricature artists and getting inspired by that and just trying it out. I try to do that in my live stuff as much as I can.
What kind of materials do you like to use for these live gigs?
So I've been using a lot of Crayola marker. Crayola marker is probably the go-to caricature marker right now. They're
Yeah.
just cheap and they also get pretty good line variation. Uh, and then I'm using the Neo colors, which was kind of
Okay.
a struggle to switch over to because I love the art sticks a lot, the Prismacolor art sticks, but they discontinued them. But my buddy Volta, she showed me kind of how you can make your own neocolor colors by like kind of mixing them and putting them in an oven.
Interesting.
So we did that, and I'm kind of just like switching over to neocolor like 100% now. So it used to be me mixing the Prismacolor with neocolor because I still had the Prismacolor sticks. But now I think I'm just going full neocolor.
Do you do digital caricatures as well?
Yeah, I mean, when a lot of the YouTube videos that I'm doing, I want to do it digitally. When it comes to doing it live, I try not to do that because it's a lot of it's a lot. Bringing all of the
Yeah.
equipment with you and making sure that everything's set up is a little stressful. So I try to stay traditional doing the live stuff, but I will do digital stuff if it's just like, I have a Saturday off and I want to, create something a little bit more.
What are some of your favorite gigs or events to do if you have a
That's a good
preference?
question. Gigs, I like stuff really close to home. I mean, if I get in the car and it's 10 minutes away, that's really nice. I also love working with my team. When I'm working with another caricature artist, we kind of play off of each other when we're at the gigs. But for festivals, there's just the festivals that I've been doing for so long that it's almost like a holiday. Like familiar people show up. It's the same location. It's kind of like Christmas a little bit because like every Christmas you're gonna go to your grandparents' house and then see your aunts and uncles and see get the presents. And it's the same thing with like certain festivals that I'll show up at. Like Lemonade Days is one. We've been doing that for almost 9 years, I think. And, I still see people that I've drawn like 4 years ago, 5 years ago that keep on getting other ones to add to their collection. So that's a lot of fun.
Have you noticed a lot of repeat visitors like they like to just get their caricature done and collect them like over
Yeah.
and over again?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
That's
that's one thing
awesome.
I try to pitch when I'm drawing them. For example, there's the thing called the cuticature, and I got to do
Mhm.
it. I don't know if every caricature artist does it, but I do it. And it's just the quick little sketches, and I hate doing them. I don't like it. I like being a little creative because, like I said, like I'm in the office Monday through Friday, nine to five, and then when I get out to go draw something, I want to be a little bit more creative. And then, unfortunately, you got to placate to what the customer wants a little bit. It's still a customer service environment that you have to adhere to. And when I do get the people that are like, no, can you just make it cute for me? I say, look, if I do that, you got to promise me one day you're going to go get another caricature and ask them to do something hilarious. Just ask them to be a little creative, and I'll put this shit on the paper for you, this little crappy little caricature. But later down the road, you're going to have some fun with this. And they agree to it.
Well, that's great that they agree to it. I mean, the cuticature, and I've heard this term a few times now. It seems like it could be a good gateway for getting people hooked on caricatures, perhaps.
Yeah.
It can
I
be.
mean,
I don't
there's
know if it
there's a
always
big
is.
debate against that. If I'm being real into the caricature
Hmm.
community, there's most caricature artists that are like, if it's your style and this is what you do, you need to put it on each caricature. And the what I see is yes, because that makes you more creative and more, artistically driven. So you're going to see your creativity just spike. But the problem is some of the times you'll just sit there because not a lot of people appreciate what you're doing. And then there's the other side where you're just doing the cuticature stuff all the time. You're going to make good money, but your creativity is going to suffer, and you're going to find yourself going into a lot of traps. Because I did that. Like because I used to be in the mindset of every caricature I draw needs to be creative. There needs to be something hilarious. I need to exaggerate features. I need to make that likeness good. And then it wasn't until I started, really evaluating how the business mind works. And I'm like, okay, I need to do the cuticature. I just need to do a solid cuticature. So every caricature I would draw would try to be a caricature, and I wasn't good at it. I mean, for me, like a small nose is still huge because it's just like it's still fun. So I really had to
Yeah.
dial back a lot. And once I got in that habit, it was hard to break it. It was hard to break out when I found somebody that I wanted to draw insane. And it was hard to not put down certain creative ideas on the paper. I would struggle with it for sure. So it's a mixed bag for sure.
Interesting. You do a lot of kind of educational material too on caricature, don't you?
I
Um,
try. I wouldn't say everything that I say and do is going to be 100% accurate. Because I mean, there's stuff that I've watched that I put out last year, and I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. Um, but I mean, there's always room to correct it. um, but yeah, I try. What I want to do is just educate people on what caricature is, and enter into this lifestyle of being a fun, creative goofball and getting people something fun to walk away with. It's a fun world to get into, and if anybody has that opportunity to just try it, I'm going to root for them to do it.
yeah, that's awesome. I had asked another artist this question before, but I'll ask you too, since you're doing educational materials.
Yeah.
Back whenever like I was a kid, I got obsessed with caricature, and around the time I even found out what a caricature was, I encountered this idea that caricature is something that couldn't be taught, that you just had to have some kind of knack for it to see things that way. Do you believe that there's any truth to that, or do you think that anyone could be a caricature artist?
Hmm.
It's a tough one, I know, but
Well, let's just start with, can it be taught?
okay, yeah.
there's so many aspects of caricature that's one reason why I love this art form. You can boost several different kind of aspects with caricature, from the creative side on how to draw eyeballs or how to exaggerate or how to maintain likenesses, how to play around with composition, the color. There's a lot of stuff that you can learn educationally about that. And then there's the how to see caricature, which I think, in my opinion, is harder to do, especially if you want to be a little bit more creative with doing caricature. So a lot of my educational stuff is how to see, or how to, look at your subject and pull ideas out to integrate on the paper. I think that's hard to educate for sure, because any kind of any kind of teaching, it's one of those things you got to be very analytic when you sit down and you draw and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, how can I explain this into words? It's like, how do you describe breathing? Like,
Mm.
you inhale, well, what's inhaling? Well, you got to exhale too. Well, what the hell? Like, if somebody didn't know how to do that, they'd be like, what is this? And you got to be really patient, because people do challenge you on what you actually mean, and it can be frustrating because you're like, you just get the line to do this, and they're like, why? And you're like, yeah, guys, you just do it. um so education is hard, especially on how to translate what you're doing. So I don't think it can't be taught. I just think it's challenging to teach. I do think there's more lessons in you just going for it and just doing it, setting up somewhere and drawing caricatures. You're gonna fail. You're gonna hate yourself. You're gonna be anxious. It's gonna be a hard time. But the lessons that you learn when you keep on going, that's going to be more than anything that anybody can teach. So I try to motivate people to kind of just go for it, just sit in the chair, do it. In a year of you just doing this, you're going to improve. So yeah, I think teaching it is possible, but you're going to learn way more if you just go for it, you know.
Well, that
And
makes
then
sense.
there was two things to that. I'm sorry, I brain farted. Said you said, is caricature impossible to teach? Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Um, so Yeah. So is there truth to, I guess the first part was is there truth to caricature? Uh, can anyone be a great caricaturist? I think that was the
Okay,
second
yeah,
part
there you
there.
go. Can anybody be a great caricature artist? Yes. I honestly believe that because um I didn't think I could do, I didn't draw when I was growing up. I didn't I through high school, I wanted to be a professional moron. So I was doing the dumbest crap possible through my life. And when I discovered caricature, I like saying it saved my life. It basically did. And I didn't know how to draw that well. I just went for it. I pushed myself. I drew 10,000 bad drawings and I just kept on going, drawing 10,000 more. And if I can, if I feel like if I can do it, I think other people can do it. But of course, there's going to be hardships and there's going to be perks that other people have. There's artists that I see that pick it up quicker and can just figure it out more. There's something in their brain. There's like, I don't want to say talent, but there's something that absorbs information a little bit easier. And then there's challenges with caricature artists. Like I said earlier, like not every caricature artist is good at, talking to people. No, not a lot of artists, period, are good at talking to people. And you're kind of forced into that position to do it, especially doing live caricature. You gotta entertain the customer a little bit when they sit down and kind of educate them on what their expectations are. And that it just it's going to be challenging. It's not going to be an easy cakewalk for every single person, but yeah, I do think if you have the love for it and you want to push yourself to really learn this, you got it. That's the hardest thing right there, is to fall in love with it. Fall in love with it so much that it's going to hurt you and you keep loving it. That's the power right there.
Yeah, that's great. Do you do did you do other kinds of illustration work, or did you just jump right into caricature?
When I start, I mean, I loved Red and Stimpy growing up,
Yeah.
and like Rocco's Modern Life, Cow and Chicken. Like I love that edginess, animated cartoons. So when I started, I was kind of in like learning how to do those. And in inking was a big thing for me when I first started out. I love Jeff Smith's Bone, and if you look at Bone without the color and just look at the black and whites, it's mind blowing. And I'm just like, how does he make these things look so crisp? And the blacks are just nice and everything's just compositionally great. And I was obsessed with inking and trying to make, really good lines. And I would literally get tracing paper and put it over and practice with brush pens, markers, and all of that for countless hours, trying to make sure that my inking skills were good. And then when I started doing live caricatures, unfortunately, I was such a stickler about the line work that if I like moved it a little bit, or like if I went through with a stroke and it kind of got, a little, I
Right.
would start all over again, or I would hate the drawing, even though the drawing was good. And then that little line was just a little wobbly. I just was like, no. So yeah, I kind of jumped into caricature probably when I was learning how to do cartooning, um
Okay.
and just kind of jumped into that bag for sure, full force, like dove into the pool with my clothes on and everything, and everybody's like, is he drunk? And I'm just like, no, this is fun in here. And they're like, that guy has issues.
Do you have a technique for dealing with a challenging face?
That's a good question. It There's a thing where when you do have somebody sit down and all of these ideas just kind of come at you all at once, and you got
Yeah.
to cherry pick the idea. I think that's harder than finding a face that's a little bit more challenging to draw, because when somebody sits down and you're like, I don't know how to do, like if their main features is like gums, for example, and
Okay.
you pushing the teeth to have the gums come out more, you're like, I'm just not good at this. I got to go home and practice it. So you just literally just draw gums and teeth on a sketchbook, 50 times, and then you got it. But when you're sitting down and then there's this guy has a huge nose, small eyes, and then like a huge big personality, and you don't know what to play off of, and you kind of get overwhelmed with what idea to go off of, I think that's a lot more challenging.
You were just at, did you just get back from ISKACon? You were there,
So
right?
it
You won
no,
something.
ISKA is gonna happen here in the next like two or
Okay.
3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip on it this year,
You're
unfortunately. Or
skipping this year.
fortunately, who knows? Who knows if it's gonna be bad? I know it's always good. Um, but last year I went. Yeah.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah, last year. And we had a good time. We brought some of the ToonHeadz artists with us, and it makes me happy. I I don't have kids. Okay. I just have caricature artists. And
Same
I re-
thing. No,
I
just kidding.
remember when I asked my dad because I was so upset, and I'm like, Dad, where's the Christmas spirit? Where did it go? Am I ever going to feel this way about getting excited for Christmas again? He's like, when you have kids, yes. And then I remember going to ISKA, and I felt like I was at Christmas. And over the years, it dims down because you're just familiar with it. The more you go, the more familiar it comes. The spark kind of dims a little bit. But when I see those other artists that work for us go, their excitement and all of that, you get to live through a little bit. So maybe I'll have some kids. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
So coming back here to the interview, I guess I'll get off the Instagram for now. But
No, you're good.
what's on the horizon for you and for Toonheads? Anything
Oh
big coming up?
man, lots of heroin, drug trafficking. Um, oh no. No, I mean, there's goals that I have. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, expanding out of Georgia a little bit. That's a goal of mine. I just want to make sure that that's something I want to do.
Right. Yeah.
Really committing to the YouTube channel a lot more. That's a big goal of mine because, like I said, I just want people to experience caricature, even if it's just watching a 5-minute video of it.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I do like podcasts. I mean, I've been doing podcasts, and that's a lot of fun because you get to, talk about what you love, but also share the love with somebody else. And that's been a lot of fun for me. Um, I do want more opportunities that exist for the artists that work for us. I mean, with the economy right now,
Oh
things
yeah.
kind of slowed down. But I can't control it. I don't have a magic wand and be like, good economy. I can't do that. So I gotta roll with the punches and be more creative and innovative with what we can do. So I am excited. I know it's weird because the world feels like it sucks right now, but when when you have to be creative and figure out new things, those are things that you can integrate for the rest of your life that work. So I'm kind of excited to figure those things out. Optimistic. We'll say optimistic.
Yeah. Tell me a
Um,
little bit about this podcast too that you do. I'd like to learn more about that because that sounds great.
yeah,
You
so I
talk to
I
other
just
artists.
started it. I did Tom Richmond. Me and Tom Richmond sat down, had a conversation.
Amazing.
Um, Me and him met probably officially. We met about 2 years ago. I think I went to his workshop once, and I got to know him a little bit. But the second time I went to his workshop and brought some of the ToonHeadz team with us, that's when me and him like vibed a little bit more. So I'd say that at that aspect, that's when we kind of met. And then I just asked him. I hate asking people for favors or doing things for me. It's
Yeah.
weird, but he's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, all right. So we just sat down, and I was nervous doing it because I'm thinking, how am I going to have a conversation with somebody for maybe an hour and try to make it interesting? But Tom's really good at talking. He's really good at explaining his story with caricature, so that part was easy. Um, and there was a lot of knowledge that like I was absorbing for myself from him for sure, because there's things that you can ask Tom and he has an answer for it, which is pretty extraordinary, but he's been doing it for 40 plus years, I believe. And in
Yeah,
that you have a lot of time to think. And once it was done, once from editing and all of that, once it was done, I was like, this was actually a fun experience. I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to continue doing it. I got one in the works right now. It's still in development or production. Uh, and that's with Steven Silver. And that one really, that was a lot fun. Steven,
that's awesome.
I've never really got to sit down and talk to Steven. So that having that experience was awesome. He's so nice. He's hilarious. He's also he has a lot of wisdom, and that wisdom is appreciated for me for sure. And then I also did one with Glenn, which is not in development yet, but we already did it. And that one was a lot of fun too, because I mean, me and Glenn known each other for a couple of years, but it was at ISCA, and when you're at ISCA, I guess I'm a puppy dog a little bit when I get there, because I'm like, I want to talk to you. Ooh, squirrel, squirrel. I want to draw this. Hey, how you doing? Hey, so like when I have those interactions with people, I don't feel like I get the full interaction sometimes. So when me and Glenn got to sit down and talk, I appreciated that, and we had a good conversation. And it's just the more you talk to your community about what you're doing and what you love, you do take a lot of lessons out of that. I do kind of like saying it's like the basketball and Space Jam, and you get them to touch the basketball and you absorb their talent a little bit. So when
That's
you
a
talk to
perfect
any,
analogy.
yeah, well, I mean, when you talk to any caricature artist, you do learn something, especially when you share that love for it. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that
sure.
aspect for the podcasts.
Yeah, I do too, actually. I feel like I learn something every single time I sit down with another artist and talk to them about
Yeah,
what they're doing.
yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So what made you want to do this?
I've just had a lifelong love of caricature, and I'd been doing these studio visits with fine artists for a little while, and as those started to kind of dry up, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should talk to caricature artists. I feel like not enough people are talking to caricature artists, and they seem like great people with lots of interesting things to say.
Yeah,
Uh, and I was right. So,
yeah, we're nuts for
yeah,
sure.
exactly.
You'd
It makes
fit
it a lot of
in.
fun.
You'd fit in great with your little Rugrats background. You'd
Yeah,
do
yeah.
great. So you started out as doing fine art, and then you said that kind of dried up. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was doing studio visits with other artists, just
Okay.
talking about their practice. I was just doing that kind of supplementary to just working on art and getting to know people. Um, I mean, I don't know if I would say I started in fine art because I was doing some caricature a little bit, and then kind of pivoted into fine art, and still do kind of play around with character sometimes in my spare time. But I've never done events or anything like that.
Do you
All
want
just
to?
studio. Oh, I think it would be I think it would be a lot of fun. I don't have any talent or skill at it, so I'd be really
Oh,
stepping into my out of my comfort zone doing it.
that's where you get it, man. That's where you get the talent and the motivation and all of that. Unfortunately, you
Yeah,
should
I
try
know.
it. You should. It's not going to kill you. What's your Steven Silver made the best analogy for me. What are you terrified of?
Oh gosh.
Like, how are you scared of dying? Like, what's your biggest fear of dying? Like, by lions, by a woman,
Oh, I don't know if
drowning,
I'm
fire?
I I don't know if I'm afraid to die. I'm just afraid that people are going to judge me.
Okay, I mean that's fair. What kind of judgment? Because judgment could also mean a positive thing. People could judge you for being awesome.
Well, I guess what it really boils down to is I don't want to go out there and make bad work, even though I know you've got to.
Well, one thing that I teach my caricature artists when they first start is 90% of the people that you sit down and draw, they don't have any creative bone in their body. They don't even know how it works. Alex, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
they'll all sit and start posing like you're a damn camera, like you're about to capture their image and just print it on the paper,
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're doing. So whatever you draw, whatever you do, they're going to be amazed by it. Even if it's a stick figure, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, you drew me skinny. Thank you." It's still just getting out there and going for it. I think you should do it. You got a good personality. Look at you. You're a handsome devil. You got this like nice little like I'm a poet. I'm doing kind of stand up. Like I like it. You'd be great at it. And look at you drinking
Well, I
coffee.
appreciate it.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon and you're drinking some coffee. You got
I
this.
I drink coffee all day.
All day.
I really do. Yeah, I just sit here drinking coffee
Are
all
you
day.
like one of those coffee pretentious coffee drinkers like some of my
No,
friends?
it's terrible. I don't know why I do it.
How do you take it? Do you do lots of cream, lots of sugar, like sweet and all of that, or do you
Oh
black it
no, no,
up?
I drink it black, and then people make
Oh,
jokes about how I must be a serial killer or something.
I mean, I was going in that direction too. I mean, especially when you said
But
black coffee. How do
but
you
you
like that
know,
engine oil?
once you start adding cream and sugar, people think they go the other direction. So I'm like, all right, I'll
Oh,
just make everybody think I'm
well, you got to drink with your
crazy.
pinky out from now
Gonna
on because
Well,
because
this
you
mug
do.
is so heavy. I've got like the biggest
Oh,
mug on
come
earth.
on, you got that grip strength, boy. Do you get lots of acid reflux from that? Drinking coffee all the day?
No, thankfully.
Dude, your stomach's made out of like steel and carbon fiber.
I eat a lot of spicy food too. You'd think I'd be
Really?
dying from the acid reflux. Yeah.
Oh man. Do you take like a Tums in the morning just in case?
No, maybe I should though. Maybe that
No,
extra
don't do it.
barrier of
Don't
protection.
don't ruin whatever you got going on. Your stomach has something in it that's saving your life. Don't screw it up now.
Well, I'll take your advice to heart. I'll step out and see what kind of wild images I can get
Do
people.
you have like a local park? So this is how I started out. I would just go up to like a local park.
Okay.
I would get permission first and just be like, look, I want to do some live caricatures here. I'm going to draw them for free. And if people tip me, they tip me. And you go out and do that. And you sit down and you're going to be like, whoa, this is not as bad as I thought. once you're sitting down in the chair, you're good. When you get your first customer, then you're going to be like, this is bad again. And you're going to sweat, you're going to shake, you're going to be really nervous, but you got to remind yourself it's free. If it's bad,
Yeah,
who cares?
that's true.
And
That's not a bad idea.
when you show it, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." I guarantee you they'll say something like that. And if they do, you owe me $20. We'll go 20 because inflation. $25 you owe me when they say, "Oh my gosh, that's actually really good." And then they'll tip you something, and then you stand out there all do 3 hours. Just commit 3 hours for yourself, and then do it another weekend, 4 hours, 5 hours. Go back home and be like, dude, I suck at drawing. I suck at drawing nostrils. And then you get your sketchbook and you just draw 50 nostrils. And then you go back to it and you're like, I know how to draw that guy. You're Mr. Nostril. Guess what? I'm Mr. Nostril too. I just practiced 50 of them last night. So let me hook you up. And then you'll find out, hey, I'm not good at drawing hair. You'll go back home, open your sketchbook, draw 50 hairdos, hairstyles, and then you go out and then you got it. It's a lot like stand-up comedy. You go up on stage, you tell your jokes, some don't hit. You go back to the writing table, and then you just rewrite your jokes until it makes more sense. I mean, my buddies are in stand-up comedy there are certain jokes that if you just say like a word beforehand, it ruins the joke. And then you got to
Hmm.
like tweak how you do the sentence. And it's the same with live caricature. You know, you'll do your instincts and be like, I'm not good at this. Something's going on when I do it this way. And you go back to the sketch table and then you sketch it out a couple of times. I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll draw my live caricatures and then I take pictures of them and I go home and I redraw the person again because I'm like, this wasn't what I wanted. So I try
Yeah.
to play around with that. I mean, this is why this adventure is so fun. It's because one, you'll never be complete. You're never going to be 100% of a caricature artist. There's always room to grow. If it's even creatively, it's time to go for the entertainment side. How can I talk to people? How can I make them laugh? How can I give them an experience? And then you work on that. And then also it's the customer service aspect and how do I make people feel more comfortable when they sit down, because they're going to be more anxious than you are
Yeah.
when you're drawing. They're going to be just as anxious as you, and you got to figure out how to be kind of a therapist in a way and kind of guide them through their emotions while you're doing this. You do. And you figure out how to do that when you're doing live caricature. And then also the joking aspect. You got to figure out how to make them cut loose and laugh. And sometimes you can push your jokes a little bit too far. And maybe the caricature isn't funny after that. But most of the time, the charm and how you approach the joke, it sets them up for whatever you draw. It's fine. You know, I tell people, like, sometimes people be like, don't draw my double chin. I'm like, it's fine. I won't do that. I'll just draw the fifth one. And then I whatever I show them, they're like, oh, that's not that bad. Even though I made their nose half the page, or drew their boobies looking like funnel bags or something. It whatever you said as a joke, they're already prepared for. So there's that. And then there's also how you manage stuff. I mean, if you want to learn how to do this for a living and make a business out of it, you got to learn that aspect. There's just so many things to build off of and learn it. So might as well just go for it and sit down and learn something on the first day. And then you'll
Right.
also realize how brave that makes you. Um, After you sit down and draw your first person, that's going to be the worst person you draw for the rest of your life. And your heart's going to race. You're going to sweat. You're going to feel like you're going to throw up. Your legs are going to shake. Your arms are going to shake when you're doing that caricature. And then you just look and you're like, sorry, I did like 2 bumps of cocaine before I started drawing you. And they'll laugh and that'll make you loosen up a little bit. And then you finish it. And once you're driving home that day, and then the nice little winter night is just covering the whole plane, and your car's just kind of slowly going and headlights are passing by, and you take a big breath and you're like, I did it. I survived, and this was nice, and whatever I do for the next week, I'm fine.
That's such a nice story. I like it.
You go do it. Tell me it doesn't happen. If you tell me, AJ, I sat down, then I got shot, I'm gonna be like, buddy, I'm so sorry.
I'll
You
send you
really
the
suck
news.
at this. Never
I'll
do it
send you
again.
the news clipping. Yeah. Caricaturist shot today.
Yeah. Maybe you weren't
So
cut out for it then.
you'll eat your words.
I'll eat
Uh
them. I'll make a
so
YouTube video on it and just be like, look, I got to ask the question, can everybody do this? I said yes. I
yeah, this
was
whole
wrong.
interview
And
will get
here's why.
redacted. Yeah, don't do
Yeah.
what I said, please. You'll
Yeah.
get shot. No.
Exactly.
So, intrepid character artist, what do I need to go out there? You said a tip jar, some paper, of course, some
Yeah.
Crayolas. You what else? What else would an intrepid caricaturist going out for their first
Good
non-paid gig?
question. I made some YouTube videos about it.
Oh,
So
perfect.
there's tons of easels that you can get. The French easel. There's this little easel that you can get at like Michael's. It's just like a tripod easel. Or you could go, for example, to go get the Bob Lite that we sell on ToonHeadz.com. Am I
Oh,
doing good
hey.
with this like consumerist like kind of commercial? You could go on
Yeah.
www.toonheads.com/Bob-Light and purchase your own Bob Lite easel. Don't do it. Get one of those when you're falling in love with caricature. But
Mm.
you could go to Michael's and pick up like a little tripod easel. And I show in the video why those are worth it and why they're not. And you get yourself a drawing board. I show you how to make your own drawing board, where you get your own paper, and then you just set up. And it's weird because you're probably used to drawing like this, correct? Like on a desk or something.
Who, me? Oh
Yeah,
no.
you.
I have a makeshift easel. It's actually
Oh,
just a
okay.
chair
Yeah.
that I prop things onto.
Okay, that's good. So for me, for example, when I first started, I was so used to drawing like on like a flat surface.
Oh yeah.
And then when I started drawing like this, it was a little difficult for me to get it comfortable with that. So if you're already doing that, look, you're a step ahead of me when I first started doing this. So there you go. Rub it in my face, why don't you? But yeah, I show you how to make your own drawing board. You go to Home Depot, you spend like maybe I think they're like $60 for everything,
Oh,
for the
okay.
drawing board, and then you go out and get some paper online. I like using 12 by 18 accent opaque paper. Am I doing good with the
Okay.
commercial here?
There we go.
12
Yeah.
by 18 accent opaque paper. That's 70 pound text smooth. Those are going to
Okay.
be, I like that because it's a little toothy and still smooth. So it's not going to kill your marker with all the tooth on the
Okay.
paper, but it's enough tooth for when you do your color sticks that it picks it up a little bit. But you just with the Neo colors, this is one reason why I didn't like the Neo colors, because with that paper, you got to be so light, like really gentle and romantic when you do it. And I was so used to just being just aggressive and just
Yeah.
villainous when I was doing it. So it was a change. But yeah, easel, paper, drawing board, and go ahead and just sit in your living room or something like that. Put some references on your laptop and draw just one person, black and white, and then go for two people. Just practice one, then two, and find that composition. Um, at first, play, do a pre-sketch for yourself for sure, but know every time you do that pre-sketch, you're preventing yourself from improving. That pre-sketch is a crutch a little bit,
Mm.
unless you're pushing a different idea out with each caricature. But when you're first starting out, everything you're putting on the paper is a new idea, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and use that, and then try to get it in like 5 minutes. Try to do it in 5 minutes, and then you'll also, you can find Tom Richmond's workshops. He does that across the United States. So if you're interested in that, that's going to help you kind of be a little bit more prepared when you do the live stuff, because drawing in front of somebody that you really admire is way more intimidating than drawing some random stranger, you know? So if you want to try that avenue, you can. But yeah, just setting up at like a little park. Make sure there's some good traffic going on through there. Bring a friend with you too if you want to feel a little bit more comfortable, and just go for it, man. I believe in you. You got it for sure.
All right. I guess
Do it.
I'll do it. I guess
You're gonna do it.
yeah, might as well,
Okay, if
right?
you do it, you need to send me an email or Instagram message or something like that. Let me root for you, buddy.
All right, there we
I
go.
love people getting into this thing. You'll have such a good time. And if you honestly love caricature, you're gonna you think you love caricature now? Wait till you make love with it in a live setting with strangers.
There we go.
What kind of artist are you like when you first started doing like getting into caricature, liking caricature? What kind of styles were you loving? What kind of grabbed to your attention to it?
Well, I've always kind of liked the really cartoony stuff, but I'm also really a big fan of like Al Hirschfeld style. So a lot of the kind of stuff that I was doing was simple line work, really,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to be very minimal, but also being kind of a little crazy and trying to stretch things out a little
Yeah.
bit more. So somewhere, I don't know if that describes what it
No,
would
you
look
you
like.
like like kind of like a cartoony abstract look to it, but also you know the minimalist look
Yeah,
to it, right?
yeah. I would say that's
Yeah,
kind
buddy.
of like where I'm at.
Well, the thing with Al Hirschfeld, I think it's really difficult. You can do it. Don't make me think that you can't do it. But when it comes to minimalism, especially a live caricature, I noticed it. A lot of people don't understand it
Yeah.
when they first start doing it. Uh, but when you're just doing the face as a Al Hirschfeld style live caricature, it kind of is too simple a little bit.
Hmm.
I think what makes Hirschfeld really stand out is how he does his bodies and integrate, that flow of that whole personality of the person.
Yeah.
But you can get that for live caricatures too. I mean, there's a good artist named Chris Chua. He does it. He does like an imitation of kind of that abstract look. Goodwin, Eric Goodwin, his stuff is more cartoony now, but his earlier stuff was really exaggerated and abstract. I mean, I would even say Sebastian pulls that. Carlos Van Meer, he does that. I don't think I pronounced that right. I sounded like a white boy when I said his last name. Um, but yeah, that's another thing with caricature. Like you asked earlier, was when you first started out, was your style were you wanting that kind of style? And the answer is no. I mean, when you get into the pool, you're gonna learn like, hey, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, I want to try this, I want to try that, and you kind of just collect tons of stuff. One of I was really worried because I was afraid you were going to ask me the question like, who are your influences? And
Well, that was going to be my next question.
well, we're going to be here for another 4 hours, my man. There's such a long list of things that you appreciate about different avenues with caricature. Because, for example, I love Tom Richmond's way of how he captures likenesses and
Yeah.
how he can simplify a face and make it stand out as that person, and how he does different features, and they're quick, but they're also, instantly recognizable. But,
Yeah.
also at the same fact, like I love Kirby's way of how he does caricature, and Kiko and Eric, and even some of the artists like Sean and Bobby, like some of the things that you just grab, and they're not doing it every single time. That's the other thing. It's like every caricature is going to look the same as that subject, but it's all going to be different. So even if they draw an eye, something that you've never seen before, they're not going to keep on drawing that eyeball sometimes. And you
Right.
can pull from that and then apply it to somebody that has that similar face to that person and apply that in your own way. So there's a lot of things that you can grab and take with you in your pocket. And that's one thing that's really hard about caricature, because you can get into a comfortable formula, we'll say, like a comfortable way of just drawing a face. And you only have maybe a handful of ideas that you can apply to each person. Like, for example, there's one that's really big. It's like the balloon technique. Like, where's the middle of their face? If you squeeze it, do they have more mass on the top or more mass on the bottom? And you kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
just apply that for each person that sits down. But when you want to go more advanced, that's when you can't apply that idea every single time, because you can't think of mass generally if you want to have composition where their head ends up here, goes down here. You're going to have to think in a different idea of what that head shape is resembling, or how you can abstract the head shape to still be recognizable to that person. So you think of abstract shapes to composition, and you can't apply that to just that method. So you have to build off of
Interesting.
that per se. So
Hmm.
I'd say the most seasoned caricature artists are the ones that apply thousands upon thousands of ideas for each caricature that sits down, but they only use maybe 30 or 40 ideas for it. When, you know, the average caricature artist or the person that has that generic formula, they're only using maybe 12, 15 different ideas when somebody sits down. So the more ideas you can, where that makes sense to you and you put in your pocket, when you sit down in a live setting, you're like, okay, I've done something similar. Hold on. And then you just grab it, throw it on the paper. And then that's something that you get proud of because you like stored that idea for so long in that pocket that it was burning holes in there. And it's like, get me out of there. And then you just kind of throw it out. You're like, thank God I did it. So that's
Nice.
another thing I love about caricature. Can you tell I
Do you
like caricature?
it came through a little bit.
Okay, good.
Do you ever find yourself like almost like dissecting the heads and treating different parts of the head or shapes that you see differently through
Yeah,
that?
yeah, for sure. So when I was starting out, I was trying to what did I call it? I called it something, and I would basically figure out how to, like, say, here's the head shape, and turn it
Hmm.
on its side to turn the middle part of the face in a different direction, and then have their chin in another direction, and do this abstract head shape, but only concentrate on those sections to see what section worked the best. So I would do it in one direction, and then I'm like, that didn't work. So I'd get a post-it note and then just draw that the head section over that and do it in a different direction. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit closer. And then you just kind of play around with those shapes to see what actually works sometimes. And then you also got to consider the distance between the features, how you rendered the features, all of those kinds of things. So the more you just play around, the more you're going to figure out.
That's so wild. That's an interesting, I don't know, a lot of what you said here. It's just got like all these ideas now flowing through my head of like how to work with a face, you know?
Yeah. And the hard part is too, Alex, is you'll have those ideas and that will make sense to you what's in your brand, but the translation to go to your hand and then print that onto the paper, that's another avenue in itself that has to travel to get to. And
Hmm.
I'm actually gonna we're in the works of doing a video on it. It's called translation, where you got to translate those ideas to kind of figure out how to put that on there. And the only way that you do it, the only way you can boost that muscle, that whole muscle of translating from your brain to your hand, is just by doing it. So
Yeah.
you gotta think of it like a workout in a way. Like, say you want bigger biceps, that means more push-ups, that means, you know, more pull-ups and stuff. And the same thing applies with translation. Is you got the idea, you're like, let's say for example what I just said, and then you're just going to translate it to your hand, and then it didn't work, so you're going to do it again and try to get closer to that idea. And then another thing that happens too that can be a little frustrating is that sometimes the idea seems awesome. Like, you'll look at a subject and be like, that's a good idea. And you go to apply it, and the likeness is just, it's just gone. And you're like, what the heck? So you try it again, and then you try it again, and you spend so much time on this idea and it's not working, that you kind of have to, you're going to have to give up on that idea. But like I told you earlier, that idea is still there. You just practiced it 20 times. So when somebody does have something that resembles that idea, you can pull it out of your pocket, paste it on the page, and you already practiced that muscle. So it's good to train that translation muscle for sure.
Wow. Um, Another question for you.
Absolutely.
I
I'm
guess
having a
pivoting
blast,
into
buddy. This is fun.
great, great.
Nobody lets me talk this long, so I appreciate it.
So, what would you say are some of the most important things that people would need to know about the business side of caricature, if you don't
Ooh.
mind going into that? Because I know that's got to be a whole other can of worms. Like when you decide to really go at this professionally.
Running a like, do you mean just going for yourself as your own business, or trying to imitate, like getting other people to kind of work for you, kind of like what I'm doing? Because it would be two different aspects.
It would be two different aspects. Well, focusing, I guess, on the first, like the um,
So if you wanted to go in for yourself, the first thing you got to realize is you're going to have to put in those hours to practice and put yourself in those situations that are uncomfortable sometimes.
mhm,
That's going out and doing caricatures for tips, to going doing it in a retail setting and selling each caricature. And you could do that anywhere. You can see
mhm.
what kind of local festivals are going on in your area, figure out who to call. And that could be nerve wracking in itself because, like I said, not a lot of caricature artists are good at talking or communicating with people. So you're
Yeah,
picking up the phone, you're like, "Hey, I saw you had a festival on this," and you're going to be weird, and that's fine. Just go for it, pay for it. Don't and honestly, when you first pay for your festival, don't see it as making money back. Just see it as doing an experience. Okay, because for example, if you had the mentality that I'm only going to spend money on good movies, you're never going to see a good movie.
yeah,
You're going to be analyzing it all the time and you're not going to enjoy it. So when you go for your first festival, just be like, I'm paying $300, $400 just to say I did this. You go out and do it. And sometimes you're going to surprise yourself. You're going to be like, holy crap, I made my $300 back. Or sometimes you're going to be like, hey, I only made $10. That sucked, but I did it. I stood out here. I got the experience. I got to draw one person, and they appreciated it so much that they paid for it, and that's mind boggling. So let me try it again. You just keep yourself in these routines, and then you get to a place where you got to do gigs. Now with gigs, you got to be fast and you got to be entertaining. If you show up and it takes you 10 to 15 minutes to do a black and white sketch, you're not going to leave a good impression on the client. You do need to learn how to communicate with the client clearly of everything you need. And there's a lot of things that go into each booking, from finding out what the times, where the event is, what they want for the event, to getting a deposit and marking that in your calendar to make sure that they paid for it. You put the address and phone number and all of that into there. To It's getting closer to the event, you need to find out parking details so you can just go in there, no sweat, figure out where you need to go. Introduce yourself to the client when you get there and just be like, hey, I'm Alex, I'm here today, thank you so much for having me. Setting up your stand, and when you first do that, I guarantee you're going to set up that easel and be like, what the hell is this? So if you do that at a gig, you're going to look weird. So might as well set up an easel 50 times before you go out to a gig and do it. And
yeah,
then you draw people fast. You say thank you to the client. I mean, and then you get a review for the client. You make sure that they paid their remaining balance for everything. There's a lot of things that go into each gig. And honestly, if you just see it more as the experience of learning that, that's when you figure out answers for yourself. Just dip your toes in the water to see the experience of it, and then that way, when if you fall in love with it and that's something that you're like, hey, this was scary, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be there's going to be some fear there, but you're going to be like, I did it. And that dopamine boost that you get when you drive home, that's what makes you want to keep on doing it. So there's a lot of failure in starting your own business, and you're not going to be perfect each time. So look at it as you're going into it to capture a moment for your life. You're going to have a little adventure for yourself. You're going to be Captain Ahab for a little bit, and pay the price for it by either money, by being afraid, or to looking foolish. And sometimes you got to pay those dues.
well, I'm looking foolish all the time anyway, so I may as well do something useful with it, right?
I mean, there's so much. The thing that I appreciate about people a lot is not being afraid to be foolish, because there's no such thing as a dumb question, right? Nothing's stupid to ask. because you're wanting to learn. And then you don't want to be the person that when you're in, we've all been there. We've all been in a conversation with 3 or 4 people, and everybody's like, hey, do you know what the whale science is on the consensus of the news yesterday? And you're going to just be like, yeah, I heard. And you totally didn't hear what the hell it was, what happened. You just say, yeah, because you're afraid of looking stupid. But what people enjoy is that they're like, hey, did you hear about this? And they're like, no. You're giving that person an opportunity to teach you something. And when you get
Right.
people to teach you something, they remember that for sure, and they appreciate you as a person. Now, there are those people that just want to sound intelligent every single conversation, and it is annoying, but you kind of you're just like, you just don't have to deal with them sometimes, or you do have to deal with them, whatever. But looking foolish isn't a bad thing. There's a lot of lessons in being stupid. Now don't do it intentionally. Don't be like, hey, I'm gonna drink this tequila and light fire to a porcupine and throw it up in the air and try to catch it with my eyeballs. Like, that's not foolish, that's just idiotic. But foolishness to me is just, sometimes you're going to draw a caricature and sneeze while you're doing it and mess up the whole drawing. To you draw a woman and she has some little whiskers on there, and you add them in there, and then you see the experience of her being like, how dare you do that to me, what the hell is your problem? I mean, that's looking foolish. And that's fine.
Wow. Where can people find you? Links, best links for people to follow you, book you, all of those good things.
I mean, you can look me up on Instagram. I try to be attentive to that as possible. I do have the problem with being a perfectionist. So a lot of the stuff I don't upload unless I'm proud of, and sometimes not proud of. You can find me on Instagram, AJ ToonHeadz, at AJ ToonHeadz. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you can look at me up on, if you want to book us for a party or something like that, you can just go to ToonHeadz.com. That's with a Z. And then just fill out a booking form and we can help you from there. And then, of course, I'm on YouTube. If you want to watch some videos on caricature or learn some things about caricature, you just search the ToonHeadz with a Z on the search bar, or you just look up AJ Jensen. Maybe I pop up on there. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll try that. I'll verify after this. After this
Okay. If not, you'll cut it out.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank God.
Make us all look good. Well, it's been a pleasure having you, and thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom on the art and the business of caricature tonight.
Absolutely, buddy. Alex, I appreciate this. Thank you for letting me rant for an hour about my love for caricature. And then
It's
also,
been
like,
great.
I,
Yeah.
I honestly want you to try it out. I think you're going to love it. And I think you're going to be awesome at it if you keep on pushing
Oh,
for it.
thank
So
you.
I can
I
see that
appreciate
love.
that.
And I can tell you that love is gonna evolve to something brilliant, and then you're gonna inspire somebody one day, and then they're gonna get into it, and then that means more people get into this thing that we love,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
we're all in this world that celebrates caricature together.
Yeah.
So be a
Yes.
part of it, man. Sign up for my cult where we drink Kool-Aid mixed with Pop Rocks.
Awesome. Awesome. I will. I will, and I'll send you a photo or something.
Please do, man.
I'll
I'd
let you
love to
know.
see it.
All right. Well, I'll let you go I'll let you have the rest of your night back.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.